The galaxy didn't fear humanity. They ignored us, and that was their greatest mistake. The feast between two worlds. The valley had never seen silence like this before, because silence usually came after destruction, but today it came before a decision that could save or erase everything. The golden armored legion stood in perfect formation, their armor reflecting the sunlight like a warning and a promise at the same time, while behind them rose the mountains, ancient and indifferent to human ambition. At the center stood Commander Ilara, her posture calm, her expression unreadable, her eyes fixed on the long stone path where servants from both civilizations slowly approached carrying food from two worlds, dishes made with ancient fire and ingredients grown under artificial sun's meals that had fed enemies for generations without ever being shared. For 70 years, the worlds of Aurelian and Terra Prime had known only war missiles against shields, drones against steel, blood against code, and every child born during that era learned hatred before language. Ilara had grown up inside that war, watched her city burn when she was 9, watched her mother choose duty over escape, watched her father fall in the final defense of the Eastern Gate, and from that day forward, she learned that survival required strength, but peace required something far more dangerous: trust. The council had laughed when she proposed the feast, said food could not undo history, said warriors would never lower weapons for a meal. But when resources ran thin and victory became a lie, repeated to avoid surrender, they had no choice left but to listen. The feast was not a celebration. It was a test, because anyone can sign a treaty, but only the brave can sit unarmed across from an enemy and eat. As the servants placed the first trays down, Ilara raised her hand, and the legion halted, every soldier locking into stillness as the opposing delegation emerged from the opposite side, clad in dark alloy armor, etched with symbols of Terra Prime, their leader, General Kale, walking forward alone, his face marked by scars, earned not from weakness but endurance. Kyle had lost 2 sons in the war, one to a bombing raid, the other to an orbital strike, ordered by Ilara herself, and though she had never seen his face before, she knew him by reputation, the man who never retreated, the man who believed mercy was a myth invented by the defeated. When their eyes met, the air tightened, and for a moment the valley held its breath, because history itself seemed unsure which direction it would move. Ilara stepped forward, removed her helmet and placed it on the stone table. A silent signal echoed by Kyle moments later, and in that small act, something invisible shifted, because symbols matter more than speeches. The servants finished arranging the feast-spiced grains from Terra Prime, crystal-grown fruits from Aurelian, slow-roasted meats cultivated in biovats, and baked breads made using recipes older than the war itself, and the smell rose into the air, mixing unfamiliar scents into something strangely human. Ilara spoke first, not loudly, not proudly, but clearly enough for every soldier to hear, saying, "We have tried killing each other, and the result stands before us. Exhausted armies, empty cities and children who know only alarms and graves. Today we try something else." Kyle did not respond immediately. Instead, he reached for a piece of bread, broke it in half and placed one portion on Ilara's plate, an ancient gesture of shared fate, known in both cultures, long before technology divided them, and murmurs rippled through both ranks. They began to eat slowly, cautiously, every movement observed, every bite waited with consequence, and with each passing moment without betrayal, the tension eased just enough for memories to surface. Soldiers remembered meals with families they would never see again, remembered laughter, remembered a time before armor felt permanent. Ilara tasted a dish from Terra Prime and was surprised by its warmth, the spice sharp but comforting, and she realized with a quiet ache that the enemy had flavors, traditions, and homes just like hers had, and that realization was more terrifying than any weapon because it made future violence personal. As the meal continued, stories began to surface, first in whispers, then in shared glances, then in words. A soldier from Aurelian spoke of rebuilding a school, a Terra Prime engineer spoke of restoring water systems, and slowly the conversation shifted from what was lost to what could still be built. Kyle finally spoke, his voice low but steady, saying, "My sons believed the war would end with honor. I buried them with medals that mean nothing to the dead. If this feast fails, their deaths are just another line in history. If it succeeds, they become the last sacrifice, not the first of many more." Ilara met his gaze and replied, "I carry the weight of every command I have ever given, and I will carry this one too. If peace fails, I will stand trial before both worlds. But if it succeeds, then let history remember today not as surrender but as courage." As the sun dipped behind the mountains, casting golden shadow across the valley, the final dish was served, a simple shared dessert symbolizing unity. And when it was finished, no one moved, because endings are always harder than beginnings. Ilara stood and raised her glass, not to victory, not to power, but to tomorrow. And one by one soldiers from both sides did the same, and in that moment the war did not end, but it cracked, and through that crack light finally entered. The feast between two worlds would later be studied, debated and doubted by historians, but those who were there would remember the truth that peace was not born from treaties or threats, but from a table where enemies chose to eat instead of kill. And for the first time in generations, the valley echoed not with silence or gunfire, but with the quiet sound of hope learning how to breathe.